See you in a minute.
Hello everyone. It's Nadia just finishing up on Instagram over there. How are we all? What an odd morning on the old news flow. I was having you have one of those days where every single headline is prefaced with COVID, COVID.
God,
COVID.
should we all have a little scream?
COVID. Well,
The
maybe
kids are still asleep.
yeah.
Let's do 1, 2, 3 more.
A silent scream. Silent scream. Have you seen they've cast the woman to play She-Hulk? There's a new Marvel character. She's not a new Marvel character.
Oh God, I'd be great at
yeah, no, I was just thinking you would be a great She-Hulk.
I would.
But there was the Hulk. Do you remember the 70s series of the Hulk guys? With Lou Ferrigno or whatever his name was? Do you remember?
Yes, I
And
do.
he'd stand there with his
I
bird.
do.
And sometimes you'd see him as a celebrity and it'd be so disappointing because he wasn't green. So, that's nice for everyone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just go.
Why don't you just come into this live
Sorry.
and cough all over everyone? Being sympathetic. She had a night's sleep last night. How did you have a good night's sleep? Did you just manage to find a knack? Or I noticed you were sleeping with John Campbell under your ear. How's the digital detox still going? I've noticed
Very good.
Yeah, is it really?
No, it really is.
I've noticed you on your phone. She's got a new phone.
No, but I posted something on Instagram yesterday, and you know I always sit and answer my things, so
Yeah.
I've done a lot less stories actually,
Yeah.
and I've looked at a lot less accounts.
Have you looked at your activity time?
In the car on the way to work yesterday, I would normally sit on my phone the entire way, and I didn't. That was good.
I looked at my activity time on
I did
Instagram. Do
meditation.
you know what my average activity time per day on Instagram is? And I attend to Popcorn Junkies all the time, so I look after 2 accounts. Well, 3 I look after Nanny Dies as well. Popcorn Junkies, 5 minutes a day. My personal account, 15 minutes a day.
That's good.
So most of my work on my phone isn't actual social media because I don't use WhatsApp.
Well, no, most of my work isn't. Most of my time on the phone isn't social media.
Yeah, but you are cruising and looking.
I cruise and I look around and I look online and I
barely
do all sorts
cruise
of
at
things.
all. Every now and then I do cruise,
I do.
or I reply to comments.
To be fair, I do find things that I'm interested in. I read about them and I go somewhere else. So it's not. I'm not just literally just sat on Instagram scrolling.
I use the news apps a lot.
Get bored of it,
I use BBC News. I use the Apple News app. I'm often looking out for news. I do the podcast, listen to podcasts, or check out podcasts, film news. All that kind of stuff.
Because I'm really interested in obviously the whole body confidence movement and everything on Instagram. I am fascinated by the accounts that I had no idea were there last year, or even a few months ago. So I do go and actually read quite a bit on all these new accounts that I follow. I find it fascinating. There's so many brilliant young women out there.
Yeah, should I say hello to a few people? Karen Busby, morning guys. I'm just getting ready for a beach dog walk.
Oh, don't!
I knew that'd make her feel like that. So I said it because I'm naughty.
Oh, Mark, why did you read that one out?
Tracy Waters, good morning. Looking gorgeous, Nadia, as always.
Thank you.
Do you want a snogger?
Mark!
Faith Goodman, hello, Mark, Nadia and everyone. Hello. Jodie Turner, good morning. Morning, Alison Fisher. Chris Gullick, how are you?
Just edits.
Where's your
My
jumper
top
from,
says
Zoe?
if you can't read this, you're not socially distancing. I'm wearing it today, I have to go out.
That's good, I like that. Where's your jumper from, Zoe Andrews is asking?
This is from what's the account called, Mark?
I haven't got a clue.
It's they give...
Oh, Happy. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but they give a part of what they sell
Okay, do you
to
want to have a
mental
look?
health. I don't think it's in the back because I've cut them. Because I hate sweatshirts up here, so I always cut them.
When I first met Nadia and we started to sort of share, live, she'd be down in Bristol for a couple of days or I'd be up here for a couple of days. I started to notice that all the collars on my shirts started to get wider, and I remember.
My dad does exactly
I remember
the
heading into the office. I must have had a jump like this, a t-shirt on, put one on quickly, put a jumper over the top, gone in, and then when I took my jumper off, I felt I suddenly had all my shoulders out, like I had some crop top, shoulder top or something. It was awful.
Bad, isn't it?
It's really bad.
Have you noticed my dad does it too?
Yeah, no.
It's just
I have
something.
seen he does it to his
something that
shoes.
we do. We just.
And then it got really annoying when one time she set off really early from Bristol, my flat in Bristol, and I went running around for my trousers, and I didn't have any. She'd taken my jeans. You were wearing my jeans.
Well, you should consider yourself very lucky.
obviously
There's a lot
I
of
had
boys
other
that would
ch-
have
I
liked
had
me
other
to wear
ch-
their jeans.
Why? In what conceivable way is that?
Well, because it's a nice thing to do. It says you like somebody. Just trying to find this
Says
account.
you like my jeans. Becca Hawkins.
Actually, I haven't seen that account for ages pop up.
Becca Hawkins, I'm on holiday at the coast in a caravan by the sea, loving the breakers, worked the whole way through lockdown, trying to use my phone as little as possible.
Good for you.
Have a lovely weekend all. Becca Hawkins, you have a lovely
good,
time.
Becca, good. And you worked all through lockdown.
Andy, you made a live, well done.
Yeah.
So, big bit of news today is it was announced yesterday, I believe, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And before we go, can I just say, Louise Jones, that's so lovely. She's very nervous this morning. Her daughter-in-law is now fully dilated and very soon she's going to be a nan.
That's very exciting.
Oh, that's
very
lovely.
Exciting. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg has sadly died at the age of 87. She had been fighting pancreatic cancer or some kind of cancer around the pancreas for quite some time. But she is one of the 9 Supreme Justices on the Supreme Court who are all appointed by the presidents across time. Obviously, Trump has appointed quite remarkably in just one sort of, what's it? Sitting or tenancy in the White House. He's already appointed 2. So, of course, this leaves a big gaping liberal gap because she was a liberal. She was appointed by a third. She was appointed by Clinton. Well, the rumor mill is... So anyway, first of all, before we talk about Trumpian politics, obviously Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a huge advocate of gender equality. I mean, that was her major thing, but she was also a hugely, I say old-fashioned in the sort of old-fashioned liberal sense of she was a true believer in the American Constitution and felt that she was wanting to just really deliver on what the Constitution essentially set out, all men being equal, all that. And her line was, if all men are equal, so too should all men and women be equal. And that's fair enough. So she's fought, she's fought on all campaigns, race issues. She's fought on abortion issues, fairness and equality, pay equality in the workplace. She's been an advocate, a constant advocate. There was a film recently which
this would be big news in America when it would be on every channel.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any Americans here. This is massive news in America. It really, Joe McKenna, if the Supreme Court goes far right, it will mean a loss of women's rights and destruction of the planet. It's a major deal because if Trump is responsible for, let's say a third, because there are 9 justices, if he puts in another one, and then just Trump is responsible for a third. You've got others on there that have been appointed by Bush and Reagan and what have you still. So it will really tip the scales, quite literally, of justice in America.
And so how does it work with the Supreme Court? I mean, you hear it's going to the Supreme Court, but what do they actually do?
Well,
how powerful are they?
They're a kind of, the whole thing about American politics is that all the different houses, the Senate, the Congress, they're all checks and balances, and on each other, yeah. And in many regards, when I was studying politics, in the UK, if you get a Conservative majority, you can pretty much guarantee that the House of Lords, which is our inherited sort of house of, it's not voted for, it's not democratic in any sense, but it's full of rich toffs generally. I mean, the makeup has shifted over the years. You've just got then 2 houses confirming conservative right-wing kind of beliefs. In America, the idea is that usually whatever your president is, the makeup of Congress and the Senate and everything is counter that, so that the president can't just run roughshod over everything. And weirdly, the American population often vote like that. They'll vote for a different president necessarily to what they've got in the Senate. And so, that sense of a kind of checks and balances. So the Supreme Court is just one final, if you like, rubber stamp kind of checks and balances to laws and to issues that come in and what have you. So I haven't seen Obama's statement, Miss Butterscotch X, but I mean, a lot of celebrities, Mark, please take the trash out. Where's the trash? What trash? Rachel says. Where's the trash? There is no trash. So it's oh, troll alert, can you delete? Oh, I see, who is it? Where are they? Give us their name. Oh yeah, there we go. Got them. Thank you, guys. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I've done that. So in America, this is massive news. This is, there's going to be a fear amongst liberals that obviously they've lost a woman who, I think there are 2 other female justices there. You've lost a liberal. But I think, so going into the politics of this without getting boring, there's a major decision to be made here. Trump is quite a canny operator. he might see this as an opportunity
to show off that he's liberal.
Well,
yes, that's what I thought.
Well, not only not to show off that he's liberal, but to frighten his grassroots into worrying if another liberal Supreme Court justice is put in. So he might use it as the vacuum, as an opportunity in a sense, to say, vote for me, and I can make sure the Supreme Court, because it's up to Trump whether the new one is installed before the next election.
Oh, I see. Oh, I know. What I was going to say is I thought he might put in place a kind of a more leaning to the right liberal.
Yeah.
To show, because he loves to say that he loves all people and he's not a racist and he's not all these things. So I wondered if he might put a soft sort of option in there to try and bring in.
No, the last thing I don't think you're ever going to see Trump. The one thing that works for Trump is arguing
Just
to his core and his
core,
grassroots that the liberals are too effing liberal. So I think he'll see this as an opportunity to vote for me, and I'll be able to make the Supreme Court even more conservative. That I think that might be the way he does it.
I think he might put somebody in of colour though.
Yeah.
Because he's desperate to say that he's not a racist.
Yeah, Regina Mushi, she was great for the Liberals and Americans in general. She fought to the end.
Yeah, terribly sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. I think I've sorted that out. Yeah, that's good. So that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, lots of celebrities. You're going to see lots of people, women, especially women. Obviously, she was a great figurehead for many liberals, but she is a particularly important woman for most American women. And I think there'll be a real outpouring of tributes and stuff online. So there you go. I would recommend. I don't like saying this because I don't like dissing any films, but don't see the Ruth Bader Ginsburg film with Armie Hammer and I forget the name of the Felicity Jones, is it? Do check out RBG, the documentary, which I will get the girls to watch.
We're going to do a home ed on that.
Exactly. Cases are surging.
Nice to see you back then, Vicky. First time she's got live, she's back at college.
Good to see you back. So, Nads, tell us how you're feeling, because it's a fact that cases are surging everywhere. Madrid, Berlin, and Liverpool. So how are you feeling about things at the moment?
Do you know what? My lovely friend Simone, who you know, who comes to do our hair and is a makeup artist also at Loose Women and a very good friend of mine, she's actually German. And Kay and I were chatting to her yesterday and said, why have things been so different in Germany? And she said, well, of course, we were very prepared, because there had been a warning for a number of years that there may be a pathogen could come. So we had done a full rehearsal. There were rehearsals done in hospitals, in care homes. We had full PPE. We had tests. I'm sitting there just like, really?
Merseyside branch as well, yeah.
She said, so straight away, everyone was tested that went into care homes, so the elderly were protected.
Right. So they did a full sort of dummy run, basically.
Yeah, and then they put it into place immediately. And she was talking about her brother who has businesses and he employs people across Germany. And she was saying, it was really, really hard at the beginning, obviously, because everyone was in lockdown, but they're pretty much back to the way that they were. And I just thought, my God, they had a plan.
Yeah.
They were prepared and they have stuck with it. I'm sorry, but I'm still not sure what this lot's plan is.
No.
What is the plan?
There isn't one.
I mean, there's lots of voices on the other side saying that a 2-week lockdown won't really do anything.
Well,
and that's what worries me.
It's a circuit breaker, and if you look into the analysis of the circuit breaking, all it does do is inevitably pause it for 2 weeks. So you'll have an arc going up.
But to try and delay the hospitalisations.
All it's about is slowing it down a little bit so it's not as intense going into Christmas. Because I think the feeling now. I was saying to Nadia yesterday though, there was all that talk earlier in the crisis when they were saying, by July, August there'll be a vaccine.
I don't remember.
That's gone.
Never saying that.
Now
July?
August, certainly by August. And now we're sitting here and a lot of the news flow is saying, it gives us a chance that by spring, so we really have lost 2020.
I just want Angela Merkel to look after the whole world. I'm sorry. That kind of organisation, PPE, they weren't searching or scrabbling for a thing. We still are. And we still haven't really got. The other thing is they have boots on the feet with the track and trace, boots on the ground.
Boots on their feet and the feet on the ground.
Boots on the ground for the track and trace. So they immediately were following up by people literally knocking on the door, phoning. And they have managed to, with a bit of herd immunity, and we really need to be looking at Sweden and Germany. I mean, the other thing is, and I'm going to say something really controversial here, and
Just pause. Hit the thumbs up icon if you really want Nadia to say something controversial. Let's just see what happens here. Just hit the thumbs up icon if you want to hear what controversial thought Nadia's about to say. Look, I mean, bam, everyone's gone nuts.
Okay, but some of you are going to be cross with me.
Oh my
So are you
God.
sure you still want me to say it?
Babe, be careful. What are you going to say?
Well, you know, the thing is, I think however long we are on social media, we must never get to the point where we worry about what we say because of people might, you know, whatever. I want to try and be as honest as I can be. And I know this is something that will be quite contentious.
As long as you're,
will get cross.
Clearly, I mean, my sphincter muscle's currently doing that.
I said it the other day when we were filming the vlog. We just haven't put it in the vlog yet.
Oh, okay, yes.
Everybody is telling
popular.
us that we are going to have this virus around us for a long time and that we have to find a way to live alongside it.
Geraldine McKeown says, this better be good.
I just think that, oh my God, people are going to hate me for this, but I think retired people who are being looked after financially, either with their own private pension or with whatever, basically people that are no longer working, so they're not having to give up their job.
So you're talking about people who have, because a lot of people over a certain age are only surviving on benefits, disability allowance, the state pension and things like that, you know, and are making ends meet, so it's a real struggle. Yeah. Just to be clear, what you're saying is that people that are comfortably off and have an income and have assets should what?
Should stay in.
Should stay in the short term.
To give young people the chance to get their education. You know, if you think of the self-employed people, well, and many people that are going to lose their jobs, they've still got to pay their mortgages, still got to feed their children, still young people that have to get their education, young people that have to start getting their foot on the employment ladder. I think we have to give them a chance. And I think if you're financially stable and you're older and therefore much more vulnerable to the virus, I think, and you're scared of it, if you're not scared of it, then go out. I think that there has to be a sacrifice.
Maggie N, Daily Mail headline, Nadia Sawalha says oldies should be locked away. No,
that's what it will turn out being. But do you know where I'm coming from?
No. When you mentioned this in the vlog, I thought there was kind of, you know, I think there's a real kernel of logic in this. They're not, the hesitancy was the little caveat I was putting in before you said it, which is, you know, there's a huge number of people who cannot and are really fucking hard up.
No, I'm talking about
old.
People that are financially stable,
but
that might be still wanting to go to the tennis club, and might still be wanting to fly to Portugal.
We're talking about really the indulgent, well-off middle classes.
And might be still wanting to fly to Portugal and jolly well go to the restaurant. I'm sorry, I know it's unfair. I would class my parents in the people that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
My parents are financially stable. Before lockdown, they've had a very good life. They had people all the time over for meals. They would go to restaurants. They would go to holidays. They've worked hard all their lives. They've saved their money. Their lives have been reduced to their tiny, because they live in a tiny little place now, and coming here, right? And my mum and dad have said, we have to do this because we are the ones that will put a burden on the national health system if we get ill. And I just think that that's incredibly admirable.
Because the part of it that I think is quite compelling is that if you are over a certain age and you have a certain amount of wealth, because I do think this is also what you're talking. What you're also what you're talking about here is a sort of middle class older person too, which is like my nan and granddad would have been this. You know, he had lots of pensions. They paid their mortgage. They didn't need for much, and they were comfortably off. If you're like that, and there are young people who don't have any reserves of cash
Yeah.
or
Nothing to
backup,
fall back
no
on.
other income, well, then it makes sense because, of course, you need the economy to keep moving. But I mean, someone here has just said, Karen, well, how would you feel if they said people over 50 should do that?
I would do it. If somebody said to me, right, okay, I've had my education, I've travelled, I've had a great time, and if they said to me now, okay, if if you can say, obviously these have to be people that can financially afford it, obviously, because you have to step aside and let people that need to work and need to get their education get it. We're going to have to sacrifice. Some people are going to have to sacrifice.
Joe McKenna, but these people have less time left to enjoy life. Young have their lives ahead. And that is a very common... Yeah. I think my mum would sit in that camp, which is why, you know, I want to make the most of what time I've got left. Because also, let's not forget, until you're older, and we're getting older quickly, but when you are older, say you're in your 70s or your 80s, you might feel able-bodied enough now, but what we're going to have increasingly hanging over ourselves is we know how quickly things can turn. So you can go from being quite able to not being able within a matter of 2 years. So for some people, there'll be a fear that, well, by the time we come out, even I'm thinking in terms of, well, in 20 years, what's the attitude going to be to old people? Let me just
be clear about this. I don't think this should be law.
No.
I'm just saying, I think people could think altruistically. Now, my parents have decided not to do all the things that they planned to do. My dad had his heart operation before he went into lockdown. They had all sorts of places booked that they were going to. He was really excited about feeling well enough to maybe have a swim, to go. I feel heartbroken for them. And I certainly don't think they should be kept away from their families. No way. I'm not talking about self-isolating, just to be clear. I'm not talking about self-isolating. But I'm just talking about maybe the people that can afford it could just think about going, do you know what? I'm just going to take this upon myself. I'm going to spend time in small groups with my family and friends, and I'm not going to take those trips away and this and that and go to restaurants and do all of this stuff that really does put me in a lot more of harm's way. I mean, I don't...
Angela Thompson says, why should your mum and dad stop living though?
But they haven't stopped living. They've reduced what they do because they've had a great time. And if we're going to live with this virus for years, hang on, let me just finish one, because I feel like I'm quite actually good. If we're going to live alongside this virus for years, is it fair to keep locking down young people who are trying to get their foothold, or young families, or people are going to be evicted? You know, I mean, that's what we're going to have next. We're going to have mass evictions. And I just think, instead of keep locking people down, people that are more scared, people that are more vulnerable, just reduce how much you're out there to reduce your chances of catching it. I think it's a reasonable thought.
I think it's a reasonable thought. I do think Janet Sharp, but some people haven't travelled, Nadia. They have worked all their lives to be able to travel. I do think we sometimes assume that being of a certain age is a fixed idea, like you're 70 and this is what you are. I think that's a really interesting point that Janet Sharp makes. For a lot of people, you will get to 70 having led an incredibly privileged life, essentially. You'll have travelled the world. I mean, even as a child, you travelled far more than, say, I had. Now, imagine if you've gone through life seeing this moment, the end years of your life, the pensionable years, the retirement years. Let's not forget, there's a whole generation, there are countless generations that have been sold this narrative, like we keep talking about the fake narrative that's been sold to children at the moment, which is go to university, build up debt, get no job that's appropriate. There's also entire generations, my mum's part of it a little bit, of you retire, there's something I get back from life. Now imagine being in that category of group. Now your mum and dad have had a very sort of, not luxurious, but they've had a very sort of unique and privileged-ish life. They've worked for it.
Can I just reiterate, because I think this is running away from what I'm saying.
No, but I'm just saying.
I am not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that have had a lot.
It's very hard to police that, isn't it?
Listen, oh my God, this is just... I feel like I'm on the Daily Mail now. I'm not saying that this should be
I'm just saying it's a good
legalised.
idea.
I'm not saying people should force. I'm just saying, can we just discuss maybe this thought of people altruistically going, do you know what?
Like Anne-Marie
I've had a really good time. I'm just gonna retreat a bit
for a little bit of
and
time.
watch young people have a bit of growth. Because let's face it, Everybody is having to give up their dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just people that might have had the dreams for the retirement. Everybody is. Young mums that can't even have their partners in with them when they're giving birth.
Yeah,
People that have got toddlers that will never like socialise with other toddlers. So it's just about where can each one of us, because this is what Sweden did. I'm just against constantly having laws going, right, everybody do this, snitch on neighbours, lockdown here. I think each one of us as individuals have to think, how could we take responsibility for our community? Where could I reduce what my footprint into this virus is? How can we live alongside this virus? I think we need to start thinking more like that, rather than just waiting to be told or feeling like we have to wait to be told by the government what to do, because I don't trust them.
Entirely agree. And I think, like Rachel Louise says, I think a lot of elderly people are doing that.
Yeah.
I think your parents are doing that. So I think you're right. I do think there needs to be, again, it's that thing I was suggesting in the week. I think everyone needs to step in more than just their own shoes or walk in their, other people's shoes in the crisis. But equally, as a lot of people are saying there, so too should youngsters who are going out to raves, knowing they're coming back. So, for example, a sacrifice that I think students could make, for example, who are going to university and things like that, like I know they've made enough sacrifices, is don't go home. You can't go back home to take your washing. And, there are equivalent, I think what you're saying is absolutely right. There are different sacrifices that different groups need to make. Yeah. And you're wanting to equalise them, that every group has their own sacrifice.
I mean, how often we go abroad. We're not going to go abroad this year. We don't do anything like the things that we used to do. And we do that, fed up, because we all just want our lives back the way they were. But we've all got to take responsibility. Absolutely, I think that the young people that are going out to massive raves is just wrong. But I think for young people to want to go to university and then hang out with their mates afterwards in reasonable groups is a reasonable thing. And like you say, the sacrifice would be, you don't come home and bring your washing home. You don't come back for the Sunday roast. So how can we as each groups of whoever we are, take responsibility? I want to be more like Sweden.
I agree.
I hate this thought that they're asking us to snitch on each other. They want marshals out in the street. They don't do this in Germany. They don't do this in Sweden. They don't do this in Finland or Denmark. Why are we going to be... I feel like we could live like this for years now.
Laura S., I saw the illegal raves on the news last night. It's terrible. One of the ravers said, why can you go to a pub but we can't gather and rave? And I was shouting at the TV because it's controlled in a pub.
It is controlled.
Yeah, it's controlled. You're absolutely right. I mean, I do think the other point to bear in mind is this circuit breaker idea, which I think is gaining speed, and it looks like there is going to be a mini lockdown for half term for sure. So I think let's all prepare for that. They want it to be as undisruptive to schooling as possible. So they want to combine it with a holiday. I think it might be 2 weeks. Here's the deal, though. It will only be effective, even as a short circuit breaker, if the government gets their shit together. It's pointless doing it if we can't. It's pointless doing it. It really is, because all will happen is it'll increase again. You'll pull the curve down a touch running into Christmas.
It's almost like, I suppose what I'm kind of saying is I think we know that there's a major cock up gone on, and I think we all have to. For instance, the other day, usually another example. So usually when I'm at Loose Women, I'll go over to Westfield at some point, have a little spin around, maybe on my way home, get the train. I won't do that now. It's like, it's a teeny thing. But if we all do those teeny things, because it's a closed-in shopping centre, I know then people are going to say about the jobs and everything, but where can we reduce our footprint? How can we, because they cannot cope with testing us. They can't cope. So we've got to think, how can I absolutely reduce the chance of me picking this thing up, then not being able to get a track and trace, then having to go to work, because we've all got to go to work, and then potentially spreading it out. I mean, it's like at work. They've asked people at work not to socialise afterwards, not to socialise with each other. It's a lot. A lot of those people are in their 20s and 30s. And they're doing it. Yeah, and they're doing it. So I think to go back to the older and more, wealthy generation, just take a step back. Just don't go to Portugal this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have from the outset said I don't understand why. I mean, I understand if you've spent money and you're worried you're going to lose the money and you're happy to take the quarantine risk. But I do not understand why people are booking holidays and then wondering why it goes wrong.
But they said today that they say now that it can be caught on the plane. Well, what a surprise. I mean, one woman got on with a cough, and by the time they got off the plane, 15 people had it. So, you know, do you really need to get on a plane and go on a holiday? We're dying to go on holiday, but we just say no. It's irresponsible at this point.
Sue Thorpe, I don't even think the government know what day it is. Saw on lunchtime news, member of government shaking hands, do what I say, not as I do, springs to mind.
Shaking hands!
God,
who shakes hands?
I just want to quickly just share this because we're nearly out of time because then we're filming stuff for the Sunday show. The Sun has got this poll which tells you what an ideal night in is, and I just wanted to ask you guys, what is your idea of an ideal night in? So whilst you type in what your ideal night in is and you think about yours, apparently nationally the ideal night in involves leaving work at about 5:52. It's quite specific. Having a curry and then TV by 8:13. It would also include beer or wine, a bubble bath, and 27 minutes browsing on Instagram. That's quite a lot. That's longer than I've actually spent on Instagram in a day. The top 3 celeb guests to invite round...
He's going to keep going on a bit. Is this how long he's spent?
The top 3 celeb guests to invite round would be Holly Willoughby, David Attenborough, and Joanna Lumley.
Crikey.
The best dessert that they'd like is a cheesecake.
Always. The Brits love their cheesecake.
Followed by 3 episodes of a box set, all before being tucked up in bed by 5 to 11. Research found that 73% of adults prefer a Friday evening at home to going out.
Oh, yeah.
That really surprised me.
Me too.
That really, because my biggest problem being a recovering alcoholic was that Friday feeling.
Well, maybe it's just we're a different age.
Yeah. And
Lots of people saying a curry.
62% consider it the week's highlight, with a fifth looking forward to it on Monday. Even more, 69% admit lying to avoid going out so they can stay indoors.
Oh God, yeah. Every week, every Friday when I talk to the younger people at work, and they're like, oh God, I'm supposed to be going out. I don't want to go out.
Oh, look.
And they're trying to think of reasons to not go. I mean, especially in London because it's so expensive. But that's good, young people.
Yeah.
Don't go out so much.
The top fib is I don't feel very well, 57%, followed by I'm having to work late, followed by my kids are late.
I never used the kids as being ill.
I always just say I had to work late.
Never said the kids were ill.
Listening to music was vital for a third. Reading a book by a third, that's good. And playing video games, 10%. There are a few nicer than a Friday night in. Well, there you go. I mean, that's... Now, this final story is really funny that I just wanted to share. What are people saying? What would you all like? Green tea, chocolate and Tatoes, Caitlin's World. And watching
Tatoes, I love Tatoes.
Watching box sets while stuffing on pizza and wine, Sky Elise. Read a good book, curtains shut, candles lit, talking to my kids, Kaz Seddon.
Mark, what's with the jumper? You look like Dennis the Menace has grown up and become a bacon bonce.
What's a bacon bonce?
I don't know if that's rude.
No, I don't know whether you should. Yeah, thanks for that. Terry Jane Butler. That's why I read them out. Nadia tends to read the wrong ones out.
I love this jumper.
Anybody who can work from home can stay in. Oh, right, sorry, yes, you're answering the last thing. I thought that was your idea of a Friday night in. Jodie, Marvel movie marathon, my God.
Chinese, I love a Chinese on a Friday.
Me, you and Maddie will be up for that.
Sarah Jordan, exactly what I did last night then. Well, we don't know what you did.
Irene Gregory, I prefer to stay in even more now. I can relax, have a couple of beers.
Oh, you're referring to what Mark read out. You did exactly what I said.
Laura Lawler, KFC film. Nice.
Ooh, KFC always makes me feel a bit unclean.
Great. The idea of a KFC is always
But I always feel a bit like...
But I've also noticed it's less succulent than it used to be. It's quite dry. Now, I just want to share with you a really funny story. You know I have a huge man crush on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? Okay, this is so funny. So I have a huge man crush on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he's just been cast to play Black Adam in the new
Black Adam? I've never even heard of that.
In the new DC movie.
Oh.
But he was so frustrated that his security gate wouldn't open as he was leaving home. And all of the crew on a Warner Brothers film were waiting for him.
Oh,
that as he got down to his gate, he tore it off.
With his bare hands?
With his bare hands. To prevent keeping hundreds of production crew members waiting, the wrestler-turned-actor pushed, pulled and ripped the gate until it came off a brick wall. Now, when the engineers arrived to look at it, they couldn't believe that a human had done this.
Couldn't he have just climbed over the wall and got a cab?
But the great...
I mean, the amount of time that took to rip it off, surely you could have called it
No. But see, my man crush has gone to new extraordinary levels because as he threw the gate and it landed, by all accounts, he Instagrammed something like, ready to play Black Adam. Oh my God, he's a live action. He's a live action superhero. It's like COVID hasn't affected his muscles.
He really suffered with COVID and
really
all his
suffered.
family had it.
Yeah.
His
Look
wife,
at him
his
dressed
kids.
up. He's such a fun dude. I want to be just his left bicep. That's all I want to be. I aspire to be his left
We've
bicep.
got to get on because
All
we're
right, guys.
cooking for the No Name Sunday show today, and I am doing a dish that's very close to my heart. I'm doing a Middle Eastern dish, and I'm also doing, you know how I was bang on about John Waite on the No Name Sunday
How's he
show?
got into your head again?
I'm doing his slutty Rolo brownies.
Can I just ask a question? One thing I do know about John Waite, because I see him on Instagram come up, why is everything quite sort of rude?
He's very camp.
Oh, I see.
He's very...
I thought
and
he was
people always
verging
go mad
on
at
politically incorrect.
Well, he is kind of... I didn't realise he was that politically incorrect.
Well, I mean, you know, that because I
camp.
love a bit of kind of salacious rudeness. No one's ruder than me.
Yeah, but
sometimes I see it and I go,
You know, he's a bit much.
It's sort of like antithesis to food.
He is, but his cakes are gorgeous, so I'm making his brownies.
Anyway, you might have seen from the last Sunday show, he got into her head and told her not to brown the meat.
And it messed
And
with
it
my
threw
mind.
everything out.
But I'm making the Rolo brownies. I'll do a photo and post it.
Now, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't joined as a member, join as a member. You've got a lovely Sunday show coming. There's a members live happening at the moment.
Leslie will like
at
this
the
dish,
moment,
though.
the members live is scheduled for 1, but keep looking at our community page, family guests. It might change. We've got a heinously busy day. If it changes, it will happen tonight. But at the moment, it's scheduled for 1, and hopefully we'll be able to hit that.
If you want to join the members area, there's a little box under here with the join. Just click on it, and just click on there and join. Also, in the members area, just to let you know that my sister is giving 20% off in the members area to her Art by Box. She's giving her family and friends discount there. So
looking forward to seeing Izzy
if you
today
want to have
as
a
well.
go at Art by Box, just go to Instagram.
Yeah, do go and support them. It's great.
Yeah, and they're a
look forward to
really
second
small
box.
business,
Yeah.
and I just love what they're doing.
Yeah.
So even if you just follow them on Instagram, it would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Art.by.box.
Art.by.box. And we have Izzy coming, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Just to hit our the rule of 6.
Yeah.
Before the rule of 6 goes out and probably becomes the rule of 2.
None.
Yeah. All right, guys.
And don't forget, what I was saying wasn't law. I was just saying, how can we all think about how we can reduce our virus footprint so we don't have to keep being told like a police state what to do.
Yeah, and you were just highlighting that there are some people who are comfortably off.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Lots of love. See you later. Bye.